A very common question with beginner snake owners is what size of rodent should you be feeding to your snake? So today we'll be explaining to you what size we recommend feeding to your snakes at home. Generally, the rule of thumb is that you want to feed a rodent that is slightly larger than the thickest part of the snake's body. In other words, you'll see a little bit of a lump behind after the snake swallows the food. Or in other words, it's like 1¼ times the width of the snake. For example, with this rat/corn snake, who's the mother of our scaleless clutch we recently hatched out, I would recommend feeding her something like a jumbo mouse. As you can see, it is slightly larger than her belly, so it's going to create a little bit of a lump left behind, so that would be a good size for her. Although that is generally what works out pretty well for most snakes, there are a few others that seem to do well with slightly larger or slightly smaller meals than that. For example, this is our bull snake, Stripey. The reason why his name is Stripey is because he's actually from our very first clutch of bull snakes. He's got these beautiful side stripes down, or lateral stripes down his sides, and a very clean colored belly. So we're raising him up to see if we can kind of breed that into future offspring as well. But in the meantime, he's just a pet until he's big enough to breed. Anyway, bull snakes are one of those exceptions where you can actually feed them a slightly larger meal than what's recommended for some other snakes. These can handle rodents that are about 1½ times as large as the thickest part of their body. So although he is smaller than that corn/rat snake, he could still also handle a jumbo mouse. So again, 1½ times the width of a bull snake's thickest portion of its body is about the size of rodent they can handle. The exceptions also apply on the opposite end of the spectrum, and for that example, I like to use hognose snakes because the hognose snakes tend to do better with meals that are a little bit smaller. In my opinion, there's more of a chance of the snake regurgitating its meal if you feed a hognose something that's 1¼ the size of the widest part of its body, whereas if you feed them something that is the same width, they are more likely to keep it down. Now this does mean you probably have to feed them a little bit more frequently than you do some other snakes, but if your hognose is a notorious regurgitator, then just try feeding a smaller meal but more frequently and see if that helps. So for this snake, I would recommend feeding something like a hopper. See how it's about the same size as her belly there? That's what I feed her right now, and it seems to be working pretty well. There are some hognoses that can handle the general rule of thumb, and they can handle something that leaves a bit of a lump behind. And baby hognoses are so small they can't handle a full pinky, even the smallest of pinkies. So for those, you sometimes have to take the head off so it's small enough for them to handle. Although typically the baby hognoses are able to handle full day-old pinkies. It does leave a lump, but at least for the babies, I haven't had issues with them regurgitating that. It's more almost like the subadults and adults that are a little bit more sensitive to that. But again, that depends on your snake. That's just something that I've found if you are having difficulties with a hognose snake regurgitating, maybe try a smaller meal. This, by the way, is our twin spot albino morph hognose snake. She will be a future breeder of ours once she's large enough, but she is still growing, of course. It's a good idea to avoid regurgitation whenever possible, because when a snake regurgitates its meal, it brings up some of its stomach acids along with it through the esophagus, and that causes sores along the inner lining of the esophagus, which can then cause further issues down the line. So if a snake regurgitates its meal, you have to let them sit for a full 2 weeks to heal up those sores before they can take another meal safely. If you feed them too soon, it'll just reopen those sores again or reopen the scabs that are trying to heal. So again, if a snake regurgitates, then you're out 2 weeks before it can eat again. So regurgitations just are not a good thing. You want to avoid them whenever possible. If it helps, you can take your snake and actually set it on a piece of paper and outline the sides of the snake so you have an idea of how big it is, and you can make a chart of all of your measurements, and that's exactly what Ed and I did when we first got into reptiles and we only had 6 snakes. Here we have the 6 measurements of the snakes we had, and what we would do every feeding night is we would take a rodent and hold it up on the chart to see if it was the right size or not. Now this chart only worked until the snakes grew out of that measurement, out of those lines, and at that point we kind of knew what size of mouse they would take. But if it helps you out, that's kind of what we did at first. So I'd recommend it if you're just starting to get into reptiles. One very commonly kept snake, if not the most commonly kept snake, is the ball python, and we haven't covered those yet, so we have one right here. Some people will feed their ball python multiple mice in a single sitting, whereas it's actually a little bit better, actually considerably better, to feed them a single but larger rodent per feeding. And that's because, well, if you think about it, this snake is, well, I'm going to put her down again, sorry. This snake has about this much room that we can fill with food. So you could either fill up this space with 2 jumbo mice, which together weigh about 68 grams, and adult mice contain about 5.25 kilocalories per gram. So together, this will give you about 357 kilocalories for the meal. On the other hand, you could feed them a single medium rat, which ball pythons are able to handle something that's about 1 1/4 to sometimes 1 1/2 times the width of their body, depending on who you talk to. And this rat weighs 148 grams, and rats give you 6.37 kilocalories per gram. So this single rat has about 942 kilocalories in it. That's about 3 times as many kilocalories for that single meal, just by giving a rat instead of 2 mice. Now that isn't just because there's more kilocalories per gram for the rat, but it's because the rat is a lot wider than 2 jumbo mice lined up one behind the other. Because when the snake eats it, they're not going to place them side by side. One's going to stop here, and the other mouse is going to come down and stop right behind it. So you miss out on all of that, I guess, horizontal space or width, I guess, that you could be filling in with just a single larger rodent. Because rats have more kilocalories per gram than mice do, it has actually been shown that snakes that eat rats over mice grow faster and grow larger. Yet another thing to keep in mind is that younger rodents will have more fat in them since they're babies and growing, and they'll also have less calcium than the adult rodents whose bones have solidified. So that's something to think about when you're feeding your snake at home, because if you feed a snake like a corn snake, they're likely only going to get big enough to handle small rats, which will have higher fat contents, so they can become overweight if they're fed strictly baby rats, essentially. Whereas snakes like bull snakes will eventually get big enough to handle medium or large rats, sometimes even colossal if you get really big bull snakes, and those have less fat, so these generally will not get overweight by being fed a rat diet. For example, here is one of our adult bull snakes, and he is plenty big enough to handle a medium rat, which is going to have less fat than a smaller one. And we have an even larger bull snake, our brigadier female. She's not as friendly as Mr. Wilson is here, so I'm not going to show her on film, but she's big enough to handle a large rat, and that has even less fat than a medium does. So if you feed a bull snake rats, which they're easily enough able to handle, you are less likely to get a fat snake than you are feeding rats to a corn snake. Oh, really? You're going to climb all around? Yeah. Since rats are generally the recommended diet for adult ball pythons, a lot of breeders with their babies will actually start them on baby rats. That way they don't have to transition from mites to... Mites? Yeah. That way the snake doesn't have to transition from mice to rats when it gets old enough or big enough for them, because a lot of ball pythons are picky eaters, and once they're comfortable eating a mouse diet, they don't want to switch over. So, I mean, you can usually get them to transition on your own, you just sometimes have to be more stubborn than the snake is. So overall, the points to remember from today's video are that A, to feed a rodent that is slightly larger than the thickest part of the snake's body to leave a little lump behind, but that can vary based on the species of snake that you have. B, to feed them a single, just one appropriately sized rodent as opposed to multiple smaller rodents, because they get more nutrition from single rodent meals. And C, to feed adult rodents to adult snakes so that they don't get fat from eating fattier, younger rodents. Hopefully all that makes sense today. I know it was a lot of information, and this was a tricky episode to film because we kept messing things up. But anyway, hopefully it makes sense to you. And thank you for watching today's episode, and we'll see you next time.